those that you can trust, and effective leaders. I think character and integrity is really important. I think it's important that you can trust people, and so I'd say that character and integrity is one of the top things on my list that I'd be looking for in myself and others. People that are people of their word. And then trust is really important, that people follow through. You know, if you keep going to someone asking them to do something and then it doesn't get done at some point, you know, they're not bringing a lot of value on that team. And so trust is important, that people are going to follow through. Determination, we talked a little bit about, I think is really important. People that are stayers. When I was picking some folks to help me on my campaign, I had people who were very determined. You know, they were self-motivated, and I knew that they would have the determination to see through a 9-10 month campaign. Yeah, I think you know, people who are confident in themselves, who really have an air about them, that they know where they're headed, and they know how they're going to get there, and they're going to just keep following that path. So those are some of the things that come to mind that I look for in myself and others. Yes?
What was it like being a pastor's kid?
Yeah, that was, you know, there's just some expectations, as you can imagine, that are placed on you as a pastor's kid, that, you know, I would say at times I was kind of leading two lives. You know, I was at high school and kind of pleasing those people that I wanted to please there, and then church life was kind of a different person, and so I really wasn't true to myself during that time, because I was trying to kind of please these two groups of people and make it seem like I was really cool. You know, high school doing some things I probably shouldn't have, and then, you know, at church I was this other person, and all the old folks there thought I was great, you know, and so yeah. So it was, my parents did a good job of making sure that they minimized that. That was helpful. So that was good, but yeah, it was, yeah, I sang some Sunday morning, and it was, you know, my dad's asking me to do different things like that, but it was good. It was a good experience. I wouldn't trade it. Yes?
What exactly was the whole, or the main reason why you wanted to run for board for Prescott?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question. You know, once I got involved with the bond and override, I really started to discover some of the shortcomings, particularly with funding and planning, were a couple areas that I felt like we've got to do better. You know, the state is really tough on us in terms of how much they limit our funding. And then with the planning piece that I talked about earlier, I really wanted to see us, you know, get beyond short-term planning and try to figure out what more can we do, and truly try to plan farther out. So those are some things that I discovered in the bond override process that I didn't want to just walk away from the whole thing and say, yeah, you know, we lost and forget it. I was already invested that much, and I wanted to see it through, and so I wanted to run for that reason. For my own kids, honestly, I really value and believe in public education, and my kids are going to be in the schools, and so that was a pretty big motivator for me to make sure that it could be all that could be for them. There were some people running that I was very concerned about, and so that kind of motivated me. Honestly, it's kind of a negative motivation maybe, but there were some people running that I was concerned about what their motive was for the school, and what direction they wanted to go. And so that was a factor for me as well, is to make sure, you know, it's kind of blocking their influence, I guess, you know, making sure that they didn't get in, because I was concerned about their negative motivation,
Sure.
Direction they wanted to go. So, you know, I just enjoy, at this point in my life, having more time for the community. When I first came and started working at UCYC, I was very focused just on my world in UCYC, and I didn't really do anything for the community, and so now I feel like it's my turn to give back to Prescott and this community, and so it's a lot of factors, I guess.
Who do you think has influenced you the most in your life and why?
Good question. Well, I mentioned that I'm a man of faith, and so Jesus has been a big factor for me. But in terms of people on this earth, I would say my great-grandfather and my father. My great-grandfather came over from Italy in 1912, and so I get kind of emotional when I talk about him because of the hardship that he had to overcome to get to this country and to make a living. He came over when he was 14 years old in 1912, and I have actually the manifest when he went through Ellis Island at our home framed for my kids to remember. But then he came by train to Kansas and was a coal miner and a farmer. So he was doing both of those things and, you know, working, I don't know, 18, 20 hours a day doing it. And I know because of his life and his hard work and his determination and his effort, I'm here enjoying what I enjoy in America today. But he's one of those people that I really, really look up to, just because of his determination and his hard work. Left his whole family. I mean, imagine, Raphael, when you're 14, not that long ago, right? You leave this country for another country by yourself to go.
By himself.
Yeah, he had one family member with him, but I think it was an uncle who was with him, but left his family, his country, everything he knew for 14 years, and went to another country that, you know, they said had held a lot of promise, but he'd never been here. I mean, back in those days, think about it, there's no internet, there's no news, there's no way of knowing what is over there. And yet, he came, and then, starting at age 14, worked in a coal mine, deep shaft coal mine, and then started a farm eventually. And the reason he started the farm was he saw what was happening with the company store, and what happens is you work for the company, digging coal, and then you live in company housing, and you go to the company store. So you see what's happening here is everything that you earn in the coal mine is spent in the company store, and you don't get ahead. So he started a farm so that he could own his own land and start his own business, if you will, outside of the company, so that he could get ahead. And he gave each of his kids 160 acres, which is a big deal. So those are, we don't really understand hard work at that level. And that's something that I would say, you know, to your question regarding traits that in ourselves and other great leaders, hard work is something that we need to make sure we continue to cultivate in our own lives. And not necessarily always physical labor, that is a part of it, but just being determined and sticking with something and working really hard is something I see in his life that really affected me. So just all the things he overcame and what he did to get where he was very motivating to me. I think it's important for all of us to have, you know, your family heritage should be really important to dig that up if you don't know what that is. I know, you know, not every home is like mine, but for me, it's been very helpful. All good, all in? So we